Okay, this video is for displaying qualitative data. As you may recall, we've talked about this. Qualitative data is data that's not numerical, it's categorical in nature and uses word terms to describe it. All right, so let's see what we got to look at here. One type of way to display a qualitative data is by a bar chart. Now, technically, this isn't a histogram. Well, it doesn't have quite the stringent rules of histogram. Some books define it differently, but histograms, bars should touch each other for the most part. Here, they don't have to touch. They can be vertical, they can be sideways, and they touch because of the numerical values of intervals. Well, since these terms are just labels, they wouldn't have to touch each other. Now, percent bar chart just means it's showing the numbers in percents or frequencies, either way. We'll take a look at here. So suppose that we survey 200 people and we ask them to choose their favorite car manufacturer, and I guess I should have said amongst the following 5 choices. So I did this to not allow for 50 choices or anything like that. So we'll just pretend like then those were the only 5 choices. And I just made these 5 numbers up, but obviously it has to add up to 200 since I stated there was 200 up here. So we're, according to these results, if you were looking at these and didn't know anything more about this, 32 chose Mercedes, 52 chose Toyota, 28 BMW, 30 for Porsche, and 58 for Honda. So our frequency distribution would look something like this. And you don't have like classes or intervals here like you do for histograms with quantitative data. Yeah, there's no intervals here. There's just words. I don't think there's any special order you have to put them in. I don't know if you want to alphabetize them, you could. But once again, we're not listing them by intervals of numbers, so it doesn't matter. Put them in any order you want. Of course, the correct frequency needs to be, next to the label. So I just put them in the same order then as I listed them up here, which makes sense. So the Mercedes frequency of 32, Toyota 52, so forth, so on. To get the relative frequency, same way you would normally get relative frequency, you would take 32 divided by the total of 200, and then 52 over 200. So those, fraction form, decimal form right here, and then you can make it percentage. So whatever is it's not specific. If a problem tells you it wants it a certain way, that's fine. But all those are equivalent forms mathematically, or numerically, I should say. All right, let's zoom in on this a little bit and see what we got. Okay, let's see. All right. Now I did this in Excel. It's real simple to do this in Excel. And sideways or vertically. Like I said, it doesn't really matter how you want to project it. Size spacing could be an issue or whatever you want. But horizontally, vertically, either way is good. So you see well, whether it goes horizontally, that means the x-axis is numerical. You always have one axis of this is not numerical. So you see that, let's look at the one that goes vertical. It's easier to see. But so it's just words here. Mercedes goes up to 32. Toyota goes up to 52. BMW 28. So forth, so on. And then right down here, I did them as decimals, but then, here it is over also as a percent. So you would just do it. But it's going to show the same trend or pattern, whether it's percent or decimal. You see it's got the same kind of pattern look to it there. So I could try to bring up one here. Let's see. Okay. In the meantime, I'll jump down here. We have something that's called a cluster bar chart. It's a bar chart that groups several values side by side within the same category in a vertical direction. And then we have stacked bar charts that group several values in a single column within the same category in a vertical direction. Both these kind of charts will you likely be presented vertically. They don't have to, but let me come back up here just for a second. All right, let's see. That. Whatever. So you could just put in, some numbers here and some labels. I'll just use some words: red, blue, black, green, yellow. Nope. And then 17. I'm not worried about these adding up to a specific total. 25, 11. I'm going to randomly pick some numbers here. 9 and 5. So you can highlight all these and then come over here to, depends on what version you're using, Excel, insert here, right? You go insert, and you got a bunch of charts right here. I wonder what it would do. Well, recommend it might do pi, which we're going to talk about here in a minute. But I guess I'll click on this. It should show me all the options. Okay, well there we go. All right, there's vertical. Now, of course, you can play around with these and change the colors and all that kind of stuff. I don't remember how I did horizontal before, but that's okay. It's not that important. But anyway. Oh, there we go. They're sideways. Okay. There we go. So that's pretty easy. Now let's look at this data. This data, what it says, points scored by the following 4 football teams in the North Division and NFC in 2011 and 2012. I won't read all these numbers out, but just want to show you the difference between a clustered bar chart and a stacked bar chart. Clustered would take each team and list the 2 years. It kind of helps to color code them so you know what you're looking at. So all the blue ones represent the 2011 data, and then the orange there represent 2012 data from up here. So that's clustered. We have them side by side, per each label. Now over to the right, the stacked one puts the data values on top of each other. So it kind of gives you then. So suppose you want to look at, you were interested in looking at the totals for the 2 years, points scored, and kind of ranking them that way. That's what you would get from this one on the right, is the total. Maybe here you're trying to look at, trends, increases and decreases from year to year. Here you're just looking at the total for the 2 years for each one. All right, that's not too bad. Now we have something called a Pareto chart that actually contains the bars and also a line graph in there too, where individual values are represented in descending order by bars, and the cumulative total then is represented by the line. And these are charts that rank things like this. This one was based, like late arrivals by reported cause, and they always make these Pareto charts. They do put them in descending order like that. That is intentional. So these are all the reasons that were late arrivals: traffic, child care, public transportation. So you see that, so this first dot is in the upper right corner of that first bar that represents traffic. Now what the second dot represents would be if you stacked The child care one, and I'm going to make just obviously a rough guess here, but so just imagine that's the child care stacked up, and then this dot, corresponds to that height. So each dot, it's kind of like a cumulative idea, basically. Each dot then represents the cumulative total of the previous bars. So the right-hand dot. So then obviously when you're at the very end, you're at 100% because you've covered all the data. So now this one, I left this as an exercise to actually work out, so I didn't at this point, but it wouldn't be that difficult to do. I may do it and publish the notes again, rewrite this one in the printed notes and show the answer. But so you see all these reasons, issues for why they said it was an unsatisfactory experience. So you basically would have, service too slow. I'm doing this freehand, so it looks terrible. This is not a writing tablet. And then that's 37%. And then long wait was 16%. W for wait, 14% order mistake. And then that's, okay. I've had enough of this. Poor food quality, that'd be right just below the order there. Food. All right, so you just draw all those bars representing each of those heights, and they would be going in descending order. But that's pretty easy. Okay. All right, here's, bar charts are pretty famous, but this is one of the most famous ways to display quantitative data, is a pie chart. A circular chart that represents chunks of the circle represent percent of the data. Now you can set these up to where they show frequencies if you wanted to instead of percentage. But this, I'm using the example I had up there earlier with the cars and that data. From right up here, this data right here. I could probably snip that out and put that down in there if we needed to, but that's all right. So those are each of the percentage which you would see in that far right column. Honda was 58 out of 200, that's 29%. So if you divide each one of them, Mercedes was 32 out of 200, so 16%. So you see the whole circle makes up then 100%. So you can change the way this displays, you can change the colors, you can do all kinds of fancy stuff if you wanted to. And there we go. Oh, I could, let's take that one I already have right here. I'll get rid of this. So let me highlight these same values. Pi. All right, let's do a pi right here. There we go. Kind of gives you a little scale down there below. It's kind of funny that I used colors there, but that's all right. So what's it have? Blue represents this orange part right here. So it's not designed. I could change this obviously and make it fit the colors, but so the red is actually the, I can't see that, so we have to zoom in on that a little more. Yeah, so it can't read your mind on the colors. So the red is the blue part, black is the gray, green is the yellow, and the lighter looking blue there is the yellow, label yellow. So pie chart, point, click, easy, fun. You can actually do all kinds of weird stuff here. Let's see, interesting stuff I should say. 3D pie. Ooh, isn't that neat? 3D pie. And actually, you can go in there and edit this and make it show the label, show the percentage. I don't remember off the top of my head how to do that, but I often find the business students that quite often, there's one of them, are more proficient. Oh, there's the labels, okay. More proficient at using Excel than I am, so probably good if you're a business major. All right, I don't know. There's got to be a way to get maybe both label and percent in there, but that's not important. As far as questions